Yeah.
So my name is Chinedu Azodoh, first of my name. I'm co-founder and CTO at MAX. MAX stands for Metro Africa Express Incorporated.
And Chini, what does Max do?
So Max is a tech-enabled mobility company. When we say mobility, what we're really talking about is we do both logistics delivery as well as transportation. So once you need to move things around, we're your people. Okay?
How did the idea for the logistics side of the business come about?
Okay, so logistics. Tayo, my co-founder, he had done some work at Conga. He was actually part of the team that launched Conga's logistics business, which was a big deal when we first met. So we were both at MIT Sloan. I was looking at e-commerce. I wanted to do something in the mother and child space, and he was looking at, he'd just done this at Conga. He wanted to try his hand at logistics, right? He was working on that as a class project. I mean, it was really a class project. And I did my mother and child thing as like my personal side project. And then did agriculture and was just experimenting. And he told me what they were doing. And I'm like, hey, look, I do finance. I can come here and build the financial models and like give feedback here and there, estimation, etc, etc. I joined the team. I'm like, hey, I like where this is headed, right? And then we're building more a business that was focused on capacity versus delivery, SLA, and timeline, right? And obviously I got involved there. I was super excited about what the team was doing. And then over time, it kind of evolved from where we were to something more focused on like time and like beating the Lagos traffic and delivering high quality and making people happy and like that on-demand setup.
Yeah, as it says on the t-shirt.
Exactly.
3 hour
delivery. So we kind of went into that, went from that to focus to that.
How did it grow and where are you now?
So August 2015, we started a pilot in Lagos. I think the first day of the pilot, we did 0 deliveries. The second day we did 0 deliveries. I think by the 4th day we did 1 delivery, and essentially that week we did maybe a maximum of 2 deliveries. This was just more to like test the market, get a good idea of like run experiments, figure out stuff, and we realized that a lot of the things we had, a lot of the assumptions we had coming to the market were just like false, right? The great thing was that we had contracts in place with people like Jumia, Conga, LOIs, letters of interest. And then so those things didn't work out, but it was a good getting our feet wet. We went on to go to Techstars in New York in September of 2015. September 21st was the first day of class. We did that, finished out, competed at TechCrunch. At this time, obviously, we had a lot more traction, and then officially started our business January 4th, 2016. By March, we closed out our funding round. So we did about $960,000 in funding. And we have a chunk of that money right now, just growing the business and expanding it.
So how many deliveries a day are you doing now?
So deliveries alone, we're doing north of 500 deliveries a day. As of January 2016, obviously when we properly started the business, we had regressed from what we were doing in December, November because of the holidays to about 8 a day at a time. Right now, middle of the year, we're doing north of 500. About a month ago, we were doing north of 400. So essentially we're seeing significant growth on a month-to-month basis.
And so how did the transportation side come about?
So transportation, we used to leave, and our office used to be on the other side of the city, in Ikeja. And we found out a lot of the deliveries were happening on the island. Met a lot of our customers on the island. So we're coming here doing customer interviews, doing business meetings, trying to sign up businesses, and every day you're stuck in traffic, bumper to bumper traffic. That was one of the motivations. We also spent time and looked at our system and said, look, we're building a business that has continued to grow. We want to continue to grow and have the kind of impact that can change lives, right? The only way we can do that is to have more and more riders on the system, and having more and more riders on the system means they also have to be busy. So we said, look, we have this really huge problem that we had with moving around the city. We did our surveys, found out a lot of people have the same problem. How do we solve that problem? And we're like, look, we already have the workforce for this. We just need to train them properly and redirect some of them. And that's kind of what we've done. And
so how many rides a day are you doing now?
I mean, so today we've done over 150 rides today alone. I guess that's not a lot when you think about it in the context of
things. And you were so busy today, you did one yourself.
So I did 8 myself, not just one, right? We were running like a campaign in the part of Lagos where we have a lot of universities, and we just didn't expect as much uptake as we've seen today. right? So we had to jump out and like help out, and it's not even half day yet. So we're seeing love from the market. So if you take that into context, 150 deliveries, 150 rides versus 500 plus deliveries, we're looking at like roughly maybe 30%, 35% of the delivery volume coming in trips, coming with trips. So that's total. We're looking at like at least 650 rides and deliveries today alone. So I mean, the potential is massive.
And what are your growth ambitions?
So I mean, we want to build a business that changes lives, right? We talk about this, and when we talk about changing lives, I'm not looking at, change like 200 people's lives or 300 people's lives. That's not interesting enough, right? We're looking at possibly getting to a place where we have 20,000 riders on the network, and each rider is doing at least like 20 to 25 rides a day, whether that be deliveries or transportation or whatever, right? Because that's really how you change lives, right? You're employing a little city and getting them to
give people livings.
Exactly, give people livings. Yeah. Because, and then to put this into context, a lot of drivers before joining us from interviews were homeless or were struggling to put a roof over their heads. On average, our current drivers are doing 2 times the industry average in terms of income. They're supporting about 5 to 7 people per driver, and that also means that even like right now we have about 150 drivers. I mean, if you put that into context, we're looking at like 600 people being supported already, right? On any given day, we have like 50 plus riders active, but we have about 150 total in the pool right now. So that gives us like, say in a month, about 600 people who are impacted by just the driver network, and that's the kind of stuff that we want to continue to do as a business.
And you're going to look at other countries?
Yes, we are. So we're currently in Lagos, Nigeria. We're looking at a few other cities in Nigeria and a few other cities in East and West Africa. More coming soon. Let's put that that way.